It's been 50 years since Kenya attained her independence. And while there is much to celebrate, 40% of her people still do not have access to what is many times taken for granted: water. And of the 60% that do have access to this life-giving commodity, only 30% access piped water, either in their homes or at public centers. Miss Mutisia represents the population that doesn't. And for her, quenching her thirst or taking a bath is not as easy as turning a faucet.
Huwa ninatoka nyumbani, napenda nikikimbia mpaka hapa, hiyo ni kama 1 hour. Nakunja hapa, kuchota maji ni ngumu, mtu anahitaji awe na jembe, tuweze kuchimba chini ndio tupate maji. Kutoka hapo tunachota maji tunawekelea kwa punda. Hiyo ni kama inakuwa another 1 hour. Kutoka hapa kwenda nyumbani tuchukue another 1 hour. So nikifika nyumbani nimechoka sana. Hata siwezi nikafanya kazi ya mwalimu na siwezi hata nikasoma.
Miss Mutisia, together with thousands of Makueni residents, source water for their families from River Thwake. Not that a drop of water can be seen on its surface except when it rains. We're standing on what should be a river, but is instead a river of sand. And behind me we have schoolgirls fetching water so that they can have something to drink, something to use to cook, and something to use to clean. And no one knows just how safe the water is to use. It's only recently that mobile phone operator Safaricom stepped in to change the quality of life of the 6,000 who inhabit the Thwake and Dauni sub-locations.
Water is the key to life. And what we have seen with the various water projects that we have done, it radically changes the way of life of the people. Because first of all, the women don't have to spend several hours a day going to collect water. So now they're saving time. That time can be used on productive work. What we also see, it improves the health of the community because they're no longer drinking contaminated water. So you'd find, imagine in this community, before this project was started, there were probably a lot of ailments, stomach ailments, diarrhea, particularly amongst the children. And so therefore that also puts a strain not only on the community, but it puts a strain on the health services as well.
Francisca has lived in Thwake all her life and knows only too well what difference a simple thing as water can make.
The piped water has changed my life as I don't get as tired as I used to when I went to the river. It's changed life for the entire household. My children didn't have the opportunity to do much reading outside the classroom as they were busy fetching water. Now there's a big difference. They have time to read and play, and they're performing much better in school as they're not too tired to concentrate. They no longer have the chore of getting us water from the river. I do it myself when they're in school now. I walk my donkey the short distance to the water kiosk when they're in class, and I've finished the housework by the time they get back. We now also get to spend time together. And I'd like to thank Safaricom for making it possible.
The time and effort that can be saved through piped water aside, the health benefits can be enormous. Currently, the lack of safe drinking water and poor sanitation are the #1 cause of deaths in children under 5. Such a simple thing as water can cut the number of hospital visits by half, saving the country billions and doubling the country's productivity in one breath.
This water project will go a long way in solving some of the problems that we face as a county, because every time we have to be prepared for emergencies in sorting out people with cholera and other waterborne diseases. Then again, due to long-term exposure to these things, the attitude of the society is like water from the river is good for taking. So despite health education, we still have a challenge there.
Kenya now enters a new chapter in her life, a chapter where each of the country's 47 counties are tasked with their own development. And one hopes that the county governments, especially in arid and semi-arid areas like Makueni, will act as a sort of magic bullet, especially with climate change brought on by man himself. threatening to deplete the natural sources of water.
We are going to invest not less than 200 million each year directly in equipment and development of water sources. And we are starting by ensuring that those which have been handed over by partners, they must remain afloat and running. Those which had crashed, either supported by donors or the government, we are going to rehabilitate them and make sure they are up and running. We are going to invest in surveys and designs this particular year, so that in the second, third, fourth years, then we are actually assuring ourselves that whatever investments we are making in terms of expansion, they are actually informed by what we've done. It's not just the rehabilitation, but for the rehabilitation, it's easier because you're spending less money for now just to get the systems running. For the development, of course, we are also going to involve the national government for bigger things. Like we have Twake Dam, where the national government is committing upward of 6 billion, 8 billion in partnership with the ADB. So again, it's not just that 200 million that we are looking at. We're also going to work very closely with the national government so that it's a seriously big investment that we are doing year after year.
In the last 50 years, men have accomplished such feats as walking on the moon. But for people like Francisca, not much would have changed were it not for this water project behind us. Reporting from Makueni County, I'm Olive Barrows for Capital TV.